All right, another flip lesson, and this is on lysosomes, cilia, flagella, and pseudopods. All right, so our first lesson is on lysosomes. Lysosomes are like little mini stomachs, so they're small and they're all over a cell. They are circular in shape, so you can see this is a lysosome. This is a food vacuole, and what happens is the lysosomes will go onto the food particle or vacuole, and they will dispose of enzymes. I don't know if you ever heard of enzymes before, but enzymes are actually a type of protein. Okay, and what they do is they break down things so that we could digest them. Like you have enzymes in your stomach, you have enzymes in your mouth, and those really are proteins. So lysosomes are like little packets of protein or enzymes. So they're small packets. The function of them is definitely digestion. They break down waste products as well, and they even break down old organelles. It's important to know that organelles become old and used, and they can't function anymore, so they need to be disposed of. So again, they break down waste, and they also break down old organelles. The enzymes that are actually inside of the lysosome are created by or I should say put together by the rough ER. Remember, the rough ER is the ER that has the little dots on it. It's rough. It has like a rough appearance, and that's because it has ribosomes attached to it, and that helps to make proteins. So these enzymes are made there. And then again, these are packaged in vesicles, and that they are sent to the Golgi. The Golgi pinches them off, and then they are very specific vesicles that we would call lysosomes. Okay? So that's how they are made. So again, their job is digestion, breaking down old things. Their structures, they're small, circular packets of enzymes. And again, the lysosomes are all part of that, the ER and Golgi apparatus functioning together. Okay? All right. The next one is the cilia, flagella. So these technically aren't really organelles, but it's important to know that some cells are very specialized to the point where they have like special features to help them move. So, and we're not just talking about human cells here, we're also talking about like life forms on Earth that are single-celled that use these things to move around. So these things that they use to move around are cilia, which are tiny hairs. They're like little hairs, so this is what cilia look like. Flagella, these are usually smaller in number, and they're long. They look like a tail. Sometimes this is actually a type of bacteria here, but these green tails here, right here, there's 4 of them. Those are what we call flagella, okay? And then there's also pseudopods. Pseudopods. This actually means false, so pseudo means false and pod means foot. So these things here are these like cytoplasmic extensions here. They're constantly changing form. It's kind of like a blob, and it can move in all directions. And so the outward appearance of it is constantly morphing and changing. Okay? So this is constantly moving. All 3 of these types of devices that they use for movement, the cilia, the flagella, and the pseudopods, again, are all 3 of them help with locomotion. Okay? So the cilia, again, are like little hairs. There's lots of them. The flagella are like a little tail. There's some organisms that just have one, and then others have a few. And then the pseudopods are these like blobby type extensions, okay? that are constantly changing form. Now, as far as cells in our body that have these features, there's a lot of cells in your lung area, your trachea, which is the tube that you breathe out of. There's a lot of cells there that have cilia. And they do that because those are designed that way so that it can actually trap particles and filter the air that you breathe in. An example of a pseudopod type of cell that we find in a human, our white blood cells are like that. They actually move around in our blood, and they're kind of like a blob moving around. There's lots of them, and they will go around and eat up bad things that are in your body. So this little pink thing right here that you see is actually about to get engulfed by those two pseudopods. They're about to wrap around that particulate matter and take it in, and they digest it and eat it as food. So our white blood cells do the same. And then for flagella, spermatozoa, sperm actually has a flagella tail on it, and so that's an example of a human cell that it possesses that feature. Okay? All right, so that marks the end of this mini lesson.